Social media and I have always had this like love-hate relationship, but lately I've been just learning to appreciate it a lot more than I did before and just having a completely different perspective of it. So in the past, my perspective was mainly just that like I'm a private person, and I don't know if you could say the same, but I'm a private person. I don't really want to share a lot of myself. I love the life that I live in real life, and I just don't feel the need to share my every move, just everything going on. But when I really think back over the years, I love how social media has allowed me to be able to find people that are just evidence that the life that I want to live is possible, evidence that the dreams and the desires and the goals that I have are achievable. So there's a few people that came to mind that I wanted to just dissect and talk about in this video. And if you have anyone like that who you like, someone that you didn't know before, but you found them on social media, on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, you followed them, you subscribed, and it helped to just encourage you and inspire you that whatever it is that you desire, that it is possible. So the first person that I would say that I didn't know to begin with that just had a really big impact on my life and especially in my business. Her name is Stacey Tuschl, and she is a business coach. She's a business owner. She owned a dance studio and then she opened an online business, and now she coaches other entrepreneurs. I started working with her maybe like 6 years ago now, but I initially joined, she had like a marketing program. I started there, and then over the years I would kind of come and go, and then I joined her program called Well-Oiled Operations, where she talks about being able to run your business like a well-oiled machine to where it can function without you. And then I joined the mastermind that she had with 6, 7, 8-figure entrepreneurs. But just the time in working with her, it wasn't even necessarily that like I felt like I was going to be able to make this dollar amount. And I felt like just working with her that she's a 7-figure entrepreneur, and if I buy what she's selling, then I'll become one too. That was a small part of it, but I think what really attracted me to her coaching programs and everything that she offered was that I could just see her life and her business and the way that she lived it as evidence. So for me, it was specifically at that time just evidence that the time freedom that I was seeking was possible. Evidence that I could get to a place where I could just work on my business and not just be fully immersed in the day to day, and that I could have time to still grow my business and implement systems and do the things that I enjoy doing, but still have the time and the energy and the capacity just to work on whatever personal things that I wanted, or to be able to focus on my family, or just whatever it is that my heart desired. And I just remember a few conversations with her. Like one of them, we were at a mastermind group, and she was talking about how she has these like routines and structures and everything within her family. And she, at that time, her children were younger, let's say like 8 and 10, something like that. And she's married. And so she just talked about how her children, her husband, her family, they have this understanding of like what they're building and what their goals are and what it takes to get there. So she was saying that she allows her children to participate in like sports and things like that, but that they have an understanding that there's only so much that we're able to commit to. And in certain seasons, they may not be able to participate in certain sports or do certain activities in ways that they could at other times, but that everybody understands that it's because they're working towards this bigger goal. And I thought that that was just really cool, that it was a whole family effort. And that's something that is important to me. Family, God is the number one thing. And family's right there too, before making money, before being an entrepreneur, before everything else. And so I couldn't quite understand how that worked of, I want to be a mom, I want to be a wife, I enjoy being an entrepreneur, but how does that all fit together? The success that she has, not just in her business, but even in her home, was just proof for me. And that really helped me just in the way that I think, in the way that I plan, and in the way that I show up. Again, when it comes to the family aspect and also being an entrepreneur, she was saying how her family, like they all have what they call like their own self-care time. And so she explained to her children like what self-care time, or what like their quiet time, I think that's what they use, like what their quiet time looked like. And how at first it was difficult for them, or they got bored, but eventually they started to like it and appreciate it too. And they would remind her about the importance of having quiet time and things like that. So at that time, I wasn't even a parent, but I just kept it in the back of my mind. Whereas now, all of the children that come into my home as a foster parent, I always explain to them, if they're of age, like what self-care time means and what self-care looks like for me and how I enjoy it, whether that is they know that I like to do my Bible study. They know that I like to read books. They know that sometimes I just want to just sit there or have my headphones on and bake or make dinner and things like that. And they know that their self-care time looks like maybe they want to take a bath and just relax and spend more time versus just taking a quick shower and just getting it over with, but just really being intentional about that. Or for them, it might be watching TV or drawing or whatever it might be. Everybody knows what self-care time means and they know what it looks like for them. And that has really, really helped in my household, and something that, again, I didn't know what that looked like at the time. And I appreciated being able to learn that from her and to see how it functioned in her household and how it benefited everyone in her family. So again, is there anyone that you can think of that it could be someone that you know, but for the purpose of this video, it's people that I didn't know initially that I found online that allowed me to see a snapshot of what the future could look like for me, or to see evidence of what I'm working towards, and it not just be this dream or these goals that are just in my head, but like I can see it. I can point to it. I can go to that person and learn just whatever it is and how it works for them, or what mistakes they made, what they would change, what they wouldn't. And that has just been huge in my life. So I've had to reframe my mind to say that social media isn't just negative. It's not just sharing all of your information and all of your personal business online, but it can really transform your life if you use it in a positive way. So I'm trying to make that shift in my thinking, but me just thinking about all of these people that have shown me all of what's possible. Another person that has just been evidence of what things could look like for me in the life that I'm building is Glo Atanmo. And I only found her recently, but I just dove in headfirst with her content. And then now even just working with her and her being one of my coaches. But I just remember when I came across her channel, it just like, I felt a sense of peace. I could identify a lot of myself in her, of her being very ambitious and very goal oriented, and her having a business and finding success in it. I saw that piece of myself, but I saw who it is that I'm becoming and what it is that I'm working towards, of yes, being ambitious and having all of these goals and everything, but also being able to just operate from a place of peace and a place from being very anchored. And true, there's always some sort of stress or things that come with being an entrepreneur, and I'm sure she experiences that too. But just the way that she was speaking, it felt like she was just calm and at peace with like where she is and where she's going. Yes, she has these goals and these dreams and these desires, but everything just felt like it came from a place of ease. And I think with her content too, it wasn't even just the way she was saying it, but it was in her background, you could see like the beautiful ocean and the palm trees going, or she's in this nice villa that she's rented out, for the day or for the weekend or for the week. And I could just tell like she's really living the life that she's talking about. And that's something that is huge for me when I'm on social media and when I'm looking at people, and especially when it's people who I'm considering investing in and considering working with, whether it's a coaching program, a course, a book, or whatever it might be. I want to make sure that whatever it is that they're selling and whatever it is that I believe that I'm going to get out of it, that I can clearly see as much as possible to show online the evidence of it in their life, and even just in the little details. Like, you don't have to know everything, but me being able to see that, okay, she talked about uploading content and videos every single day. She had this period of doing daily uploads for at least a year. I think she did it. And I was like, okay, clearly she has the time and the resources. If she can spend time making these videos every day, even if she has an editor or things like that, I can see in her videos that she's sitting in front of the camera. Don't see anyone else behind the camera. And she said that she does it herself. So for her to have that kind of time, she must be doing something right. She must have some sort of resources or freedom or something that would allow for her to do that. And of course, you have to consider that people, I don't know, maybe they already came from money. They might have a husband or a partner or someone else. But in her case, I could just see enough evidence that it made sense, that I believed whatever it is that she's saying. I believe that she's living the life that she's living. And I believe that I would be able to see a transformation if I invested into her coaching and into her programs and everything it is that she's selling. So I'm curious to know, like, when you are thinking about investing in somebody's coaching program or their course, or even if it's like their $10 ebook, what are the different things that you look for beyond just what's on their sales page, whatever it is that they say that they're selling? I think for me, yeah, like the sales page is just I don't know, like this summary, it ties everything together, but there are so many other areas that I pay attention to and evidence that I'm looking for, and to see if I follow, those steps, if I put in the work, if I'm able to see a similar transformation. But I just really love how social media allows you to have access to people from all over the world, from all different walks of life, to be able to see what possibilities and what things can look like for you. And I don't like to just make, guarantees. Nothing is guaranteed, but I can almost guarantee that whatever goal it is that you have, whatever it is that you're working towards, or whatever life it is that you're building for yourself, I can almost guarantee that there is someone out there who is living that life. And not only living that life, but there's someone on there that's creating some sort of content, or that's putting some sort of evidence out there into the world, whether it is video content, whether it is on Substack, whether it is a book that you can buy from Amazon. Somebody out there is doing it. Another person that I can think of that, again, was evidence for me, her name is Ashley Empowers. Same thing like with Glo. I believe I came across her first on YouTube. I think it was a short, and it was talking about how she was pregnant with twins, and it was her testimony, but it was really brief since it was a short. But that led me to her page, and it was just evidence after evidence, receipts after receipts of, okay, if she was able to achieve this, I can do it too. And just me being able to see her do it in real time, and to see where she started and where she's at now, that's all the proof. That's all that I need. And I remember just on her channel, it was so many different areas. Like, I want to say I didn't follow her from the complete beginning, but she had a program, I think, called like the High Earning Housewife, where she was teaching other women who were staying at home how they can earn income as well. And I believe she had built that to like a 7-figure business. And then one day she just decided that she wanted to take a step back. She wanted to focus on her home, her husband, her children. At that time, I think she had 2 children. And she shut it all down. She shut down the 7-figure business in order to focus on home. And then shortly after that, she got pregnant with twins. And then she could kind of see why God, I guess, called her to slow down and to focus on her home. And she was glad that she did have that time to spend with her children, and then with the newborns after that. And so me just seeing the proof of that in her life, and the fruit too in her life, it just helped to encourage me to see what could be possible for me and just what that looks like. And I believe, when it comes to like faith and us having faith in God and what he's calling us to and what he's showing us, faith requires you to be able to move without even being able to see it. But I think the beauty of living in 2026 versus living in the Old Testament of the Bible is that, yes, we should be able to move in faith without any evidence, without having to see, all the steps and everything laid out and exactly what it looks like. But we have the benefit of still being able to, even if we don't see our own life and God hasn't shown us on the big screen what it looks like from beginning to end, we can just still look and to see what similar things God is doing in other people's life, or if he called them to something similar, just how they're walking it out in everyday life. So like I said, I'm really glad that I've had this shift when it comes to just how I view content and social media and sharing my life and my walk and my story, because now me being able to look at other people and see that, I try to just tell myself that somebody else might look at my channel and my content and be able to see it as evidence of something for them, evidence that they can have time freedom, evidence that they can start and grow a business to the point of being able to work on it. I work, I don't know, 10, 15 or so hours a week. And that then gives me time to work on YouTube and to focus on my family and to focus on being a parent and everything else. To hopefully be able to see that as evidence that it is possible for you too. That me just sharing my story when it comes to fertility, when it comes to my walk with God, to see that it is evidence that, like me, you can be lukewarm and that God can just call you in closer and call you to go deeper, and to just see what that looks like walked out, to see that I do not have it any, not even close to figured, not even have it close to being all the way figured out, but to just see what it looks like in real time of me just trying to figure it out. So I try to look at it from that lens of maybe I can be evidence for someone else. And me sharing, it's not about me. It's not about me oversharing or me needing to be private or me being a blabbermouth and just saying every single last detail about my life. But it is just about people to be able to just look at my life and to just see how different areas almost mirror where they're at and where they're moving towards, and to hopefully allow it to just act as an encouragement or even lessons or whatever it might be that can help them in their own walk. So to not just have this selfish approach of what I don't want to do or do want to do or feel indifferent about, but to just make it about you and to make it about the audience and whoever's watching, whoever's walking alongside of you on your own journey. So I'm curious to know if you're similar to me, especially if you are a content creator, YouTuber, whatever it might be. How do you see it? Do you see it as you sharing? Do you feel similar about not wanting to overshare, or do you just gravitate towards thinking about whoever it is that you're speaking to on the other side of the camera? Other creators that I would say are just evidence of what I'm working towards and that it's possible. None that I can just say like that person was the one that just did it for me. But when it comes to like homemaking, what is it called? I was about to say Diary of a Homemaker, not Diary of a CEO. Habits of a Homemaker, I think that's her name. She was one person for me that was evidence of just what it looks like to just show up for your family, to really just keep your home, and how it's biblical, how God calls us to be good stewards over our home. She was one person. I would say even like creators like Nara Smith, like, yes, her content, it is appealing to something specific. It is like romanticizing, or I can't think of the exact word, but it's serving a specific purpose. Like, she's in her like runway outfits. She's making every single last thing from scratch. And even she has said that that's not her every single day. She's not always dressing up in full couture. She's not always making cheese and bread and butter and all of these things from scratch. It's just something that she enjoys turning on the camera and doing when the time calls for it. But although I know that that cannot always look like everyday life, it did still encourage me to be able to just say, well, even when I have the time, it is possible to try to make these things from scratch. Or how she shares that she has autoimmune conditions, and that is one of the things that encouraged her to eat more like whole foods and to make things from scratch and to know exactly what it is that's going into her food. I could relate to that, of me just being predisposed to having autoimmune conditions and like this very low level autoimmune activity and stuff going on in my own body, and me saying like, I do want to be able to control what's going into my body and what my family is eating. And it is possible to make these things from scratch. Again, even if it's not every day, even if I'm not, wearing a ballroom gown, but like, it's possible. And even like, people like Ballerina Farm, same thing. I feel like people criticize her for, that's not possible, or they already have money or whatever else. But if you just strip it down to like the meat and the potatoes, or just like the framework or the foundation of her content and what it is that she's doing, is that for me, it just showed me the importance of being able to just slow down and to You know, she'll just have all of her 8, 9, whatever it is, children just running around, but she's still there making her ice cream from scratch. And just the beauty of like family, the beauty of nature, like how they have their animals and everything else, but also of, yeah, people focus on trying to say that she's a trad wife or things like that, but she is a businesswoman. They are business people. Not only is she a mother to all of her children, not only is she a wife, but she's taking the time making these things from scratch. She's tending to all of the animals. Even if she's not doing that by herself, it is not easy managing a team. And it doesn't look like they have a small team. It's probably even a lot bigger than what we see on our end. So to be a CEO, to be managing all of these different team members, to be managing that farm store, managing her home, that takes a lot. And again, for me, it was just evidence of she is living a very full life, but just from the little bit that we can see, it seems that that is what she is choosing, and that that is the life that she created for herself, and that it's possible. So I I love that about just the internet and the access that we have today, is that we can just see all possibilities, the good and even the not so good. You can see what it looks like, people sharing their experiences of maybe making not so good choices. Or I like those videos where it's like, I'm 40 years old and this is what I wish that I knew in my 30s. Or I'm 60 years old and I'm married and this is everything that I've learned in my 40 years of marriage. I love how we have access to all of that wisdom and all of that knowledge, and we can just learn from other people, from their ups and from their downs, from their in-betweens, and from everything else. And then last, that we're able to just learn from people who are just processing in real time, people who are maybe just 1 or 2 steps ahead of us, who don't have all of the answers, but who are just figuring out life. And I would say that that's kind of where I am with my content right now, is just I'm figuring it out and I'm just sharing where I'm at every single step of the way, in hopes that even if it just helps one person, that that's enough. And I just love that we are able to access all of that at just the swipe of our phone, or the click of a button, or the I don't know, whatever it is, however you consume content. But I think that that is a beautiful gift, and it is definitely something that needs to be stewarded well. But when stewarded well, I think that there are so many benefits to it. And on the stewarding it well piece, I think that that is that's a difficulty in it, of being able to see all of that, being able to see people that are living out their dreams, to see people that have achieved things that we want to achieve, to be able to look at it and just look at it from a place of encouragement, not from a place of, oh man, I'm not there yet, or I'm already 30 years old and I don't have this, and she's already married and they already have 3 kids already and I'm just dating. Like, not to look at it from that sense, but to just always keep in mind, like, this is a highlight reel of this person's life, and I'm going to take the highlights that I think are great and that are aspirational and that are encouraging to me, but not try to compare myself against it, not try to be down on myself about where I am compared to where they are, and to just, I don't know, just take it for what it is. I think that's just something that we have to constantly remind ourselves of when it comes to social media. But I just wanted to make this video to just focus on like all of the positives and how it has really impacted my life. 1, to share, and 2, as a reminder for me, even on days where I can kind of feel like, oh, I don't know if I want to share these things, or I don't know if I want to put myself out there or be vulnerable, or to consume other content for learning purposes, but I don't really want to be on here at all. So even just for myself, a reminder of all of the good things, all of the benefits, all of the ways in which it has impacted me in a positive way, in my business, in my home, in my marriage, in just everything, personal development, all across the board. So if you don't have those people already who are just proof, they are proof for you of what is possible, of what you can achieve if you do, X, Y, and Z, or just even if you don't know exactly what it is that you want to do or where you want to go, to be able to just go and find inspiration out there. So if you don't have those people already, I would encourage you to just look around, or I love to just go on YouTube and just to type in like digital nomad and just see who comes up and see what type of life they're living. And even if it's something that I don't even know that much about or know that I have an interest in, like people that do like the van life content, I don't think that I want to live out of a van with my husband and, you know, our newborn one day and our dogs and everything else. But I'm just curious to know what that life looks like. You never know. Like me and my husband always talk about wanting to move to like one of the areas that are like right outside of LA that are a little bit more rural, where we could have like a little ranch or something, but still be close to the city, you know, for business and for our family and everything like that. Or we even were talking about wanting to get like a fifth wheel one day, and not to necessarily live in like van life, but you never know. You just don't know until you just look out there and you see what's possible, and you just allow yourself to be open. That's what I just love to say. Allow just all possibilities. Don't leave anything off the table. Just don't just assume that, you know, I'm not like this or I don't like that. Like I said, I don't like van life. You just never know. And I love how online we can just see it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything else. We can learn from it, and we can just ultimately just use it as a tool to be able to help us to grow. And I also do want to say that it is definitely possible to do the same thing that I'm talking about with people in your actual life, people that you know, because I can say people that I know in real life that have helped me to just see what's possible for me, and that has helped me to grow as well. One in particular is one of my friends. She is a wife. She is a mother of 4 children. And I remember even before I was a foster parent, just asking her like, and she's also a business owner. I remember asking her, what does it feel like? What is it like to be a wife and a mom and to have 4 children and to just being able to manage all of that? Like, is it hard? Is it hard having kids? She was just like, well, in my experience, not really, but I think it helps because I'm married and I have the support, and because we're blessed to have the finances and the resources and things like that. And so she just painted a realistic but a really positive picture for me. And I remember at that time I was just seeing a lot of like negative content about parenting, and there's a difference between like being realistic and being negative. And I feel like the stuff that was coming across my feed, I was like, is this really what it feels like? Like, I don't want to feel like this about my children all the time, or I don't want to resent them, or just like everything that I was seeing. And so she gave me a completely different perspective and a completely different mindset. And I feel like I took that mindset into being a foster parent. And it's not easy. You know, I have my days where it's rough and I have to go to God and get through it. But I always just hear her in the back of my head. And I always look at her experience as evidence that while, yes, parenting, just like anything else, it's not always easy, but it doesn't like, I don't know, I don't have to be miserable, or it doesn't have to just always be something that is difficult, that I could see the beauty in it, that there are so many positive aspects to it. And I'm just so grateful for her and her sharing her experience with me, and me being able to have, again, that evidence in real life of what it could look like to live a full life and to balance all of these different things, but to still have peace, to still be grounded in Christ like she is. And so I said all that to say, you know, yes, find those people online, but if you have those people in person, then definitely look to them as well. I just love the aspect of being able to do this online, because there's an endless amount of people making content about endless amount of things. And there is somebody out there somewhere that is doing things that are in alignment with who you are now, who you want to become, and just whatever life it is that you are building for yourself. Hopefully that all makes sense. I just sit here. I have so many different thoughts at any given time. And that's why I love making these videos, because it just allows me to just talk through it with you and just process it out loud and to just make sense of it. I'll literally just be like over there on my computer, and I'll just have these thoughts and I'll write them down, and I might think through it for a couple of minutes of like, how do I feel about this? What made me think about this? You know, what does this mean? And I don't really write it out. I'll just keep it in my head, and I'll just come sit right here. I'll turn my camera on and I'll just start talking. So it might not always come out completely well formed and everything else. But I do like to just kind of give you the raw, real, like what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, what that looks like. And I love to hear back from you to also see like what your thoughts are and your experiences and how you feel and everything else like that. But as always, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to sit with me, to subscribe, to comment. If you are not subscribed, I would love to invite you to just come sit with me, to join our community as we just build lives that we are just so excited to live and that we just wake up just looking forward to walking out every single day alongside Christ. But that is all that I have for today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.